People always talk about how difficult it must be being pregnant at an older age. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you what it was like for me when I was pregnant for the first time with this little baby at age 48, what it felt for me emotionally and mentally. Hi, baby dreamers. I'm TJ. This is Baby Star. If you're new to our channel, welcome. Obviously, this was my first ever time being pregnant, and I was almost 50. So I had never done anything like this in my life. And you'd think I would have been really scared or nervous, but actually I was really calm. I felt really confident. I felt really peaceful. And I actually think the reason for this was because I'd used a donor egg. And if I'd used my own eggs, if I had by some miracle been able to get pregnant with my own eggs at almost 48, those eggs would have probably not been chromosomally normal, or there would have been a high chance that they were abnormal. And so I might have been really at risk for having a miscarriage or Down syndrome or stillbirth or things like that. And I probably would have been worrying during my pregnancy, because most women I know who've been pregnant over 42 or 43 years old have been pretty nervous during their whole pregnancy, understandably, because those risks are very high. But in my case, I used a donor egg from a 22-year-old woman. So I knew that my risks were the same as a 22-year-old being pregnant, because the embryo was formed from a 22-year-old egg and 24-year-old sperm. So because of that, I had the same peace of mind I would have had if I'd been 22 as a pregnant woman. So that's why my situation was quite unique. It's one of the reasons I encourage women, if you find you can't get pregnant with your own eggs, you're too old, or for some reason your egg quality is not good enough, whatever age you are, I really encourage you to consider using donor eggs, and I encourage you to choose an egg donor who is young. Because when you choose an egg donor who is young, you're actually gaining yourself this confidence during your pregnancy. If I'd picked a 35-year-old egg donor, yes, I probably still would have had a great, easy baby, but I might have worried during the pregnancy. But because the egg donor is 22, it just totally was at peace. I was completely confident. And that in itself ensures you have an easy pregnancy, because you're not stressed, you're not worried, you're not in anxiety. Your whole nervous system is relaxed, your body is relaxed. And I really believe that's one of the reasons I had such an easy pregnancy, because I was just so relaxed, because I didn't have any of those worries, because I'd used a 22-year-old egg donor. In terms of dealing with people's reactions when I told them that I was pregnant at 48, that was always interesting, because obviously it's a very unusual situation. Now, with the people who knew me, it was fine, because they knew me. They knew that I was healthy. They knew I'd spent decades working on my health. Before I gave birth to her, I looked very young. I still look a little bit younger than my age, but I've definitely aged a lot since having a baby. Before I had the baby, I really looked young. People used to think I was about 36, even though I was 48.
Nice.
So my friends kind of thought I looked young, I lived a young lifestyle, I was healthy. None of them were surprised that I was having an easy pregnancy. They were all very supportive, they were encouraging. No one said, oh, you're too old to have a baby. They were like, why can't you have a baby? Of course you can. So that was fine. When I met strangers, let's say a nurse, if I was going to get a blood test and it came out, they had to write down my age and they'd go 48, they'd always be kind of confused and amazed, like, how are you pregnant at this age? And I'd have to explain to them, I use a sperm donor, I use an egg donor, and then they go, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then they would just be like, wow, that's amazing. I don't know anyone who's done that. And they would always be like, wow, their mind would be blown, and they sort of open their mind. And I always thought to myself, it's probably a good thing I told that person, because maybe they'll one day meet someone in their mid-40s who's given up on having a baby and doesn't know they could use an egg donor. Or maybe they'll meet a single woman who doesn't know they could use a sperm donor. Every time I shared that information, I really could feel the ripple out, that maybe this was going to help some woman somewhere that I was never going to meet, who might, through that person, hear about this possibility of doing what I've done. Yes, it was always a bit jarring, sort of experiencing their shock and having to explain it all, but at the same time, I knew that it was going to help someone somehow, somewhere down the track. The main thing that I felt being pregnant for the first time at 48 was this sense of awe and this sense of gratitude. It's what carried me through the times that were more challenging, like when I had this sharp pain in my tummy, or when I had the reflux and the heartburn, or when I was dealing with the gestational diabetes, because the whole time I was thinking, I can't believe I'm pregnant at 48. I can't believe I'm pregnant. I actually can't believe I'm going to get to give birth. I can't believe I'm going to get to look after a baby. I can't believe I'm going to get to change diapers. Like, I just felt this constant 24/7 state of awe, gratitude, and excitement, because this whole thing was such a miracle. Baby Star came to be born through a miracle. So when you're living a miracle 24/7, that's the number one emotion that you feel. That's certainly the number one emotion I felt, much more than anything else. When I look back on that pregnancy on a daily basis, I had this midwife, private midwife, who used to come every week, and she'd test me and she'd measure the baby. She was always like, you're so optimistic. She honestly thought I was putting on an act. She thought deep down I was suffering from anxiety and I was so worried. When she came to see me after I'd given birth, she confessed that she thought I was going to crash after the baby was born and the reality was going to hit of the difficulties of being a single mom in my late 40s. And she thought she was going to find me in a pool of depression on the floor. And I was totally happy and excited to be breastfeeding this baby and holding this cute little baby. And I didn't care if I wasn't getting sleep. I was just so excited to have this little angel who was such a miracle, because the feeling of miracle has trumped everything else for me during my pregnancy, during giving birth, during the postnatal period. And she suddenly said, oh my God, I just realized you actually were very excited through the whole pregnancy. It wasn't an act. I said, no, it wasn't an act. You don't understand what it's like being pregnant at 48 through your donor egg and a donor sperm as a single woman who never thought you were going to get to have a child. The only thing I felt above everything else through the whole pregnancy was this feeling of awe, gratitude, and excitement. And that just drowned out everything else. It's a miracle. I couldn't believe I was getting to live this miracle. I still can't believe it. She's 11 and a half months. She's nearly a year old. And every single day, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. I still can't believe it. And one day I'm going to believe it. I waited a long time to have this baby. I waited a long time because I was always wanting to meet Mr. Right and he never showed up. I made another video about that in the moment when I realized that I'd run out of time. You can watch that here. I'll put a link in the description box. But I also waited a long time because I had chronic pain for 21 years and I really thought I wasn't going to be able to do it. I mean, back in those days when I had the chronic pain, there were years where I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't walk. There were years where if I carried a shopping bag, I would be sore everywhere the next day. Or if I stayed up late, or if I ate something, I'd be unable to move the next day. So I remember all those years thinking, well, I could never have a baby. I couldn't possibly have a baby. How could I carry a baby in my womb? How could I go through all the pregnancy stuff when I can't carry a shopping bag? As I said before, I had healed all of that a year before I got pregnant. So a lot of my euphoria that I felt during the pregnancy was like, I can't believe I'm doing this and it's easy. My body is kicking ass. Like I literally was the whole time thinking, my body's way stronger than I thought it was. My body's way healthier than I thought it was. My body's rocking this. And it was so healing for me psychologically because I'd spent 21 years thinking I was this really weak person who couldn't handle the slightest thing, and I'd lived in this like bubble, never doing anything and hardly exercising because I was always so sore. I just never could in my wildest dreams have imagined that one day I'd be having a pregnancy and totally rocking it at the almost age of 50. Like, it was just, the whole thing was, it really rewired my sense of my body and what it's capable of. And now I really trust this body. I know this body is strong. I know this body is robust. I know this body is powerful. I know this body is healthy. And I know this body is capable. And it can probably do anything. And so for me, because of my particular unique history with chronic pain, that was one of the other emotions I was feeling, just this constant surprise and joy and this revelation of how healthy and strong this body was that I had always treated like an invalid for decades. But also the feeling of gratitude and excitement and awe was coming from the fact that I had just waited so long to have a baby. Decades longer than other people. Decades. I'd seen so many of my friends have babies. And most of my friends are almost grandmothers and grandfathers now. Like, they had their babies so long ago. I just couldn't believe how long I'd waited and that it was finally happening. And honestly, if you're pregnant over 45, whether you have morning sickness or not, your predominant feeling is going to be awe and gratitude and excitement because it's a miracle. You should celebrate that. You should celebrate that. So in summary, my age really didn't have any impact on my pregnancy other than it put me into a constant state of awe and gratitude and excitement. And it had given me a lot of years to get my body healthy. I had a lot of years under my belt doing Feldenkrais. I had a lot of years under my belt of eating healthy. I had a lot of years under my belt of healing my chronic pain. So in a way, my age was a big advantage for my body. But I did have some challenges being pregnant at 48. They were not to do with how I was feeling. They were to do with how I was treated by hospitals, by obstetricians, by nurses, by birth centers. So in my next video, I'm going to talk about how the medical system treated me as a pregnant woman at 48, even though I was totally healthy and having a great pregnancy. And I'm going to put that video here. So make sure you watch that next, because I think you're going to find that very interesting. Big love to all you mamas and all you future mamas. We're sending you so much love, so much baby dust. Bye from us. Say bye, girlie. Bye, 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 bye.